Greetings, Kentucky. Medical alert. Could an injury create an opportunity for a former Wildcat? Let's talk about our old friend Reed Shepard, the great guy from BBN. Before the news, subscribe to the channel. The NBA is a place where opportunities arise unexpectedly, and they often come with challenging circumstances. For Reed Shepard, former Kentucky Wildcat star, the decisive moment may be knocking at the door. A serious injury suffered by Fred VanVleet, the veteran starting point guard for the Houston Rockets, has paved the way for the young player to take on a much greater responsibility than initially anticipated in his second season in the league. And while the situation is delicate for the Rockets, there is reason for optimism, especially for those already familiar with Shepard's talent. The announcement of VanVleet's torn anterior cruciate ligament, ACL, reported by ESPN's Shams Charania, was a major blow to the Houston Rockets. The experienced point guard's absence, which will likely rule him out for the entire 2025-26 season, creates a huge void in the team's backcourt. However, this adversity also opens a unique window for Reed Shepard, selected with the 3rd overall pick in the 2024 NBA Draft. Now, the former Wildcat has the chance to show the world why he was so coveted by the Rockets in the draft, and perhaps even establish himself as the franchise's new starting point guard. Shepard has had a bumpy start to his professional career. At last year's NBA Summer League, he shined with his multifaceted skills, showing flashes of the potential that made him one of college basketball's most promising prospects. However, once the regular season began, his court time was limited. On average, he played just 12.6 minutes per game, posting modest numbers: 4.4 points, 1.5 rebounds, and 1.4 assists. His three-point shooting percentage was 33.8%, indicating there was still room for improvement in terms of efficiency. Even so, the rookie didn't get many opportunities to show his true worth on a team that was in the midst of a rebuild. But this year's Summer League brought encouraging signs. Shepard's performance was so impressive that the Rockets coaching staff decided to rest him after just 2 games, visibly pleased with what they saw. This brief stint was enough to reinforce the organization's confidence in the young point guard. Now, with VanVleet's injury, Shepard enters the scene in a completely different context. He will no longer be just a complementary piece or a name at the back of the rotation. He will be a key part of the Rockets' tactical setup. The challenges are enormous. Houston fans are naturally skeptical about relying on such a young player at such a crucial time. After all, the pressure will be intense. The team is assembling a competitive roster with the explosive signing of Kevin Durant this offseason. This combination of talent raises expectations for the season, turning each game into a test of maturity for Shepard. He will need to demonstrate not only technical skill, but also leadership and decision-making under pressure, something that isn't always easy for a player in his second season. However, there are reasons to be positive. During his time at Kentucky, Shepard had already demonstrated above-average maturity for his age. He quickly established himself as one of the best prospects available in the draft. His versatility and intelligent playmaking caught the attention of scouts and experts, and these qualities will be crucial in the role he now has to play. Furthermore, the experience gained in the Summer League will be a valuable asset. Shepard proved he can compete at a high level against more experienced players, displaying solid ball control, vision, and lethal three-point accuracy. These attributes will be crucial in helping the Rockets maintain their offensive rhythm without VanVleet. More importantly, he will have the opportunity to learn alongside a veteran like Kevin Durant, whose presence in the locker room could be a determining factor in Shepard's development as a complete player. For Kentucky fans, seeing Reed Shepard stand out in the NBA is a source of pride. He represents the continuation of a tradition of excellence the program has built over the years. His journey from Lexington to the most competitive stage in world basketball is a clear example of how developing young talent can yield extraordinary results. Now, with Van Vliet's injury, Shepard has the opportunity to write his own chapter in NBA history. It won't be easy, but let's move forward. Speaking of Stoops, while other coaches succumb to the pressure of expectations or the inevitable wear and tear of a constantly changing career, Stoops stands firm, cementing his position among the 5 longest-tenured coaches in the Power 5 conferences. A feat that not only reflects longevity, but also a unique ability to navigate the turbulent waters of the SEC, one of the most traditional and demanding leagues in the sport. The current college football landscape is rife with drastic changes. The departure of iconic figures like Mike Gundy, whose career at Oklahoma State was marked by ups and downs, serves as a reminder of how brutal this industry can be. After building a legacy of success, including 18 consecutive bowl appearances and a 10-win 2023 campaign, Gundy saw his empire crumble quickly. A catastrophic 2024 season, with just 3 wins and humiliating losses, like the unexpected loss to Tulsa, sealed his fate. Now, he joins a growing list of veteran coaches who have failed to keep up with the sport's dizzying pace of change. Stoops' tenure at Kentucky takes on even greater significance. He's not just a survivor. He's a strategist who's learned to adapt his style to the changing landscape of college football. Alongside names like Iowa's Kirk Ferentz, Utah's Kyle Whittingham, and Clemson's Dabo Swinney, Stoops represents a generation of coaches who have learned to balance tradition with modernity. However, while Ferentz and Whittingham lead programs in less hyped conferences, Stoops faces SEC giants like Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee week in and week out. And yet, he finds ways to keep Kentucky competitive, a feat worth celebrating. Stoops' tenure in Lexington isn't just a matter of tenure, but also of consistent results. With his leadership, the program has gone from being seen as a supporting player to a regular participant in postseason conversations. That doesn't mean the path has been easy. There have been seasons of adjustment, moments of uncertainty, and justifiable criticism. But unlike many of his peers, Stoops has weathered the storms without losing sight of the ultimate goal: building something lasting in a state where basketball has always reigned supreme. Adaptability is undoubtedly one of the keys to Stoops' continued success. In a sport that now demands not only technical knowledge, but also skills in crisis management, strategic recruiting, and branding, he has demonstrated impressive versatility. His ability to attract talent to a program that historically wasn't on the radar of top prospects is a clear example of this. Furthermore, his calm and focused demeanor contrasts with the chaos that often surrounds college football, offering a sense of stability in a world of uncertainty. While legendary coaches like Nick Saban hang up their whistles and icons like Dabo Swinney struggle to keep their programs at the top, Stoops continues to prove that there is room for different approaches in college football. He's not a revolutionary or a charismatic visionary, but a guy hoping to change the team. Of course, challenges remain, especially in a conference as competitive as the SEC. But if there's one thing Stoops has shown throughout his career, it's that he knows how to overcome them. Let's see how this plays out. The debate surrounding the quarterback position has gained momentum in recent weeks, and the decision to hand the starting job to Cutter Boley is no longer just a short-term move. It's now being interpreted as an investment in the team's future. The voice echoing this conviction comes from someone who knows the weight of wearing Kentucky blue intimately, Dennis Johnson. Johnson speaks not only as a former player, but as an icon who carried the expectations of an entire state on his shoulders, becoming an All-American and All-SEC player with the Wildcats. He understands what it means to deal with pressure and the need to mature early in the sport. Therefore, when he points out that Boley needs to have the keys to the offense, Win, lose, or tie, his argument carries legitimacy. The argument is clear. Zach Calzada is competent, experienced, and capable of leading the team, but Boley offers something the program needs right now: growth potential and room for development that can take the offense to another level. He has a professional physique. He's not afraid to take risks, and that's crucial for the long term, Johnson emphasized in an interview with KSR. It's the kind of approach that goes beyond immediate statistics and focuses on what a quarterback represents in the offensive system. And recent numbers only reinforce this perception. Against Eastern Michigan, the freshman showed his most promising form: 12 completions in 21 attempts, 240 passing yards, and 2 touchdowns. More than that, he averaged 11.4 yards per attempt, something that highlights his ability to stretch the field and create space for a more dynamic attack. This performance convinced Mark Stoops to support the change before the bye and the difficult trip to South Carolina. He's more confident in the pocket, he understands the offense better, and that gives us a lot of optimism for the future, the coach stated. In the SEC, where defenses are relentless and the running game is sometimes neutralized, the need for a quarterback capable of exploiting the passing game becomes vital. Kentucky boasts a solid offensive line and an efficient running back core, described by Johnson as the Great Blue Wall and a three-headed monster in the backfield. But without a real passing threat, the offense tends to lose the diversity that characterizes conference-winning teams. That's why the Boley bet cannot be treated as a passing experiment. Johnson insists on consistency. There's no room for rotations or weekly changes that would only undermine the team's confidence. The young man needs to take charge, grow from his mistakes, and mature on the field. For Johnson, the backup quarterback has already shown not only talent, but also the ability to unite the group, to be a support system for his teammates. And in a sport that thrives on both leadership and execution, that's a rare quality. Over the years, Mark Stoops has built a reputation for stability and patient building in Lexington. Now, by choosing Boley, he signals that the project continuity requires the courage to accelerate this renewal process. Kentucky isn't limited to the present, is working to shape an offense that can compete with the SEC powerhouses. The message is simple. Whether the season ends in wins or losses, it must be done with Cutter Boley at the helm. The team needs an identity, and the identity of an offense in college football always starts with the quarterback. Can BBN trust this football? Let's hope so. Comment,